It's called Smut. Give me smut and nothing but a dirty novel I can't shut.
Like, I'm just gonna like lob it out. Jess, do you have one, or do you want me to pull from my list?
No,
of
I never
podcast
have
thoughts?
one. You always have one.
I never know if you do though, so I just want you to like have that option.
Very rarely do I have any thoughts.
I feel like this kind of goes with it, because we picked something kind of trendy to talk about today, and I'll talk about trends. I did finally order something from the TikTok shop, and it was a dress. Or it is a dress. It still is standing.
It still exists.
Yes, it's
Great.
like a $12 like ribbed green tie in the front dress, and I was like, yeah, this is $12. But I felt like I like gave in to something. Like, you know what I mean? I was like, I think
like
it's
they finally got you. Like
yeah,
they
it's
finally
taken me 33 years to realize that I can be influenced.
Yeah.
And it hurts my feelings. So
I'm very easily influenced all the time. So welcome to the TikTok shop club. I've been on TikTok shop before it was cool. Okay, I was buying stuff that I probably shouldn't have been. I do get a thrill anytime someone compliments something, and I'm like, oh, TikTok shop. I got it on TikTok shop.
Do you have a favorite thing, or just like a thing that maybe surprised you the most?
I have a watch that I got from TikTok shop because I had always wanted like a metal banded kind of watch situation. But I was like, I'm not really a watch person, so I'm not going to spend money on a watch. So I bought this like gold one, and I had to take the links out of it myself because it was far too big. But it like fits in that very like artisty, like, oh, I'm so casual. It's only slightly too big for my wrist kind of way. And I love it.
It's like menswear, like you happen to find it, but like you don't care that it's maybe a little bit too big. Yeah. Threw it on over your button up.
Threw a big I like that you're like
$4.
oversized.
Yeah.
Nice. That's not bad.
Indiana
I was
Jones.
for a while, I was like, I want a leather like band watch because I wanted to look like a professor or like an archaeologist. I don't know. It's like I wanted it to look old and worn and like it's been out in the sun. And then I was like, I'm such an actress. Like, what can I I'm a Chicago gal. Why do I need this? But I was obsessed with that for a while. So
speaking of being out in the sun, welcome to
Femmes Reading Phil. We can't do it on this.
We can't do
I'm Emily.
I'm Jess.
And this is Femmes Reading
Phil. Maybe that worked.
Oh no.
Yeah, we'll fix it.
What the hell?
We'll edit it. Welcome. And welcome to our beautiful, wonderful guests, the Rom Complex. We have Sam and we have Shelby. Hello, Rom Complex.
Hi.
How are you guys doing?
What's up?
Of course.
Yeah.
If for listeners, if you didn't know, we were on theirs with the Princess Bride.
Yes.
And now they're here with a request from us, and this is a good segue. So
yes.
we asked you guys, we wanted to kind of mesh our worlds, and so we were like, hey, give us some options for books that were turned into movies. And so you gave us a list of 5, I believe.
Yes, somewhere around there.
Oh yeah.
Yes. And we picked one.
We can count.
We can count them.
Yes.
we picked one, and boy oh boy, was it a life-changing journey for both of us.
I can't remember exactly which ones we sent over. Honestly, I remember sending them to Shelby in like a fugue state where I was like, oh, and this one and this one, and we could also do this one. So I probably have seen most, if not all of them. I like to watch bad movies. It's kind of my thing. So
I hate it. Power to you. My level of ability to like handle cringe is non-existent. I'm not good at it.
I pulled up the list of the things you sent us. So The Hating Game.
Yes.
The Kissing Booth.
Yes.
The Idea of You.
Yes.
Twilight. And then
of course.
any Nicholas Sparks or John Green novel. So I mean, the first 4 were actual movies. So have you seen all of the first 4? I guess I should ask more
yes.
Directly.
I have not seen The Kissing Booth, but Others,
Okay.
yes.
I have seen the kissing booths 1, 2, and 3. Not once.
I did
Multiple
not watch
times,
this
guys.
because
Multiple times.
she bothers, like Joey King kind of bothers me, and I don't know why. I don't know
That's
what
a
it
thing
is about
people
her.
say. Yeah, a lot of people don't like her face.
She looks like a bully. She looks like she bullied you in middle school. Let's be honest.
Yeah, kind of.
She's a bully. She's got bully
She's
face.
got bully face.
And I don't think she's actually a bully. Let me lay this out.
We've
sure
she's
fine.
actually in the guest room right now. She's been listening to this whole time.
She's been waiting this whole time.
God, Joey, no. Joey, I'm sorry. I'm a fan.
Emmy-nominated
I like the
actress
bully
Joey
face.
King.
Yeah, the one.
The
Joey
one.
King.
The
Yeah.
Joey King.
Jess, what did we end up reading?
The idea of you. Yes.
Hold for applause.
Yes.
You seem, there's a lot of
You
facial
guys.
expressions going on here.
Guys.
Now you've seen the movie. Have you read the book, The Idea of You?
No.
No.
I
Okay,
didn't,
okay,
but in
okay.
preparation for this podcast, I was like, okay, I'm gonna like Google some articles of like the changes or like any differences between the book and the movie. And to be completely honest, I don't know if I could have read the book. Based on what they changed for the movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have wanted to read it.
I have to know.
I
Yeah.
texted Emily because I watched the first half of the movie and then I gave up.
Yeah.
And
Never even tried. Never even tried.
I was like, they changed so much to make everything more palatable.
Yes. And that's what I
Yeah.
read in the articles that I read about the differences. And frankly, I'm glad that they made those changes because I didn't not enjoy this movie the first time I saw it. Like, it's one of those things where I like Anne Hathaway. I like the Galzatine boy. What is his name? Nicholas. I wasn't like cringing or anything. I was like, oh, okay, like this is fun. This is a vibe.
It was like a standard rom-com-y situation.
Exactly. Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Like a older woman getting her groove back with a younger, happens to be Harry Styles famous level guy.
Yeah. Well, I have some thoughts on that.
The movie-
Go on, Shelby.
Oh, yeah. I think it does a pretty good job of being like, here's why these two people like each other.
Yeah.
And are getting together. Which is, what more could you really want from, like, a romance?
Yeah.
Yeah, they justify it and they change some things around. The big thing that, and we can get into it more, we're going to get into the summary in a minute, but the big thing was they aged up her daughter in the movie to like 18 and a little too cool to still be a fan of this band.
Which helps, probably.
Which helps a lot. In the book, she's 12 and in love with One Direction, and that makes it really
it's
hard
August Moon. It's
to
August
read.
Moon. It's
Well,
not
August Moon. She's in love with August Moon.
Yeah. What is one... Hold on, what are you talking
Who is
about?
One Direction?
I've never heard of it.
we don't have the
How
rights.
is this
We can't say their
related?
We
name.
don't have
We
the
don't have
rights
the
to One Direction. No.
Bleep it out. Bleep it out.
But we have some stats on the book and the movie. So the movie came out in 2022. The film went into production. It stars Anne Hathaway. It was released in 2024. The book was came out in 2017, and it was written by Robin Lee, who we just found out is an actress and has been in a shit ton of things. And if you Google her, like she was in, I think it said like Hitch. She was in 50 Shades Darker, 50 Shades Freed. Big fans of those on this podcast. Like a bunch of random shit. And so it's her debut novel, and it got very popular during COVID. The thing is, she narrates the audiobook, and I had to stop listening to the audiobook because I was not happy with it. But that's a thing with audiobooks.
I experienced the whole thing through that monotone ass audiobook. And
it was
and the tip of his dick is so beautiful.
No.
And the foreskin is just lovely.
Oh my
And
god,
it's all
wait, is this
blow.
Robin Lee?
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I know this lady. I've seen her in stuff. Oh my god,
Oh,
that's
yes.
so funny.
Yeah, like she's a facial actor, not a audio
Not
actor.
a voice actor.
Audiobook narration It's difficult.
hard.
People don't
It's its
realize
own
there's
skill.
acting involved.
It could have benefited from some
I couldn't have done that. I can't do a fucking
professional-
audiobook.
Yeah.
A hard job.
Personally, I could do it. But
I'm sure you could.
I'm just thinking. I just think it
Listen.
would be hard.
Listen,
you know?
as the person who
on.
I always volunteered in class. I'm a really good reader out loud, is all I have to say. So
Yeah.
I was always first hand up. I was like, let me read it. I can read this
Yeah,
paragraph.
but
That
can
was
you
me
do
too.
like accents? Can you
Yeah.
do? Oh, okay.
That's
Never mind.
the one
then. Go
thing
ahead.
is if there's too many, I can't do it if there's too many. If there's too many like voices, I don't think I could do it. But if it was like a manageable like 3 to 4, maybe I could keep. I would lose. I would just lose track of whose voice
You
I
could
was
do this
doing.
audiobook. You'd be fine.
Well,
Yeah,
there's like
probably.
a slew of accents in this one, but there's like 3 distinct accents.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
One more thing before we go into the
Oh, yeah.
summary is that we picked this because traditionally on our podcast we summarize a fan fiction and a book, and there had been a lot of rumors around this book that it came from a fanfic about Harry Styles. When we've looked it up, the author has like vehemently denied that it is a fanfic like story, but everyone is like, I don't know, this seems like a fan fiction about Harry Styles. And it's like a British boy band. There's 5 members. Like,
Yeah.
his name is Hayes, which starts with an H and da-da-da. So
I will say, to give her some credit, listen, if she wants to gaslight us into believing that she didn't write a fanfic, that's fine. But it's better. Hayes Campbell or whatever his name is in this is way better than the After series. I don't know if you guys have read or seen those.
yes.
They changed his name to
Yes.
Hardin Scott. Babe,
Yeah.
what? That's not a
Now,
name.
That's a cringe. That's a cringe series for me right there. That one is hard.
yeah. This is far
bad.
better.
Yeah, she, and that's knowing now that she's an actress, I understand why maybe she didn't want everyone to know that she writes One Direction fan fiction. So I understand that. And like I'm sure she's right, and there is no One Direction fan fiction. This isn't based on One Direction fan fiction, but there are a lot of similarities, and I do think that that's a valid thing for people to point out.
Yeah. Do you want to go over the tropes and content warnings, Jess?
Oh, sure, yes. So we do have some lovely standard rom-com tropes, I would say. So, and then some not so standard ones. So like the rock star romance, of course. So, you know, being paid attention to by rich, famous, talented man. The difference between fantasy versus reality. So, you know, falling in love and then realizing that life is going to happen and you have a child. And then just like there's kind of a lot, and then the more kind of touchy ones, like the age gap relationship of it all. And then also in the book, it's all from her, Anne Hathaway's POV. So you're getting a lot of her internal monologue about getting older and being like in her 40s and, you know, getting her groove back and that kind of thing. So those are like our major tropes. And then as far as content warnings go, there is some references to self-harm. There are a few moments of like references to sexual assault and unwanted touching in general. There's also just like some scary scenes with like paparazzi following people and some of that kind of stalking and just violations of privacy. So I know some of our listeners like to read along with us or just take our recommendation. So if you're going into it, know that those things exist.
And good luck. Good luck if you're
And
going into this
luck.
book. God. All right, let's do it. Let's fucking
do
go.
Do you want to be the one to pronounce her name first?
go.
Do you want to
Yes.
pronounce it?
Sure. This book stars Solène Marchand. It's not Celine, it's Solène.
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 Solene. Solène.
With an accent over the first
Solène.
E.
Solène.
Solène.
That's exactly.
It's French.
That's exactly how
Yes.
they say it, Emily. Perfect
Yes.
pronunciation.
Thank you. I'm working on my narration.
And so it opens with her taking her daughter to a concert in Vegas to see her daughter's favorite, and one of her daughter's best friends, to see one of her daughter's favorite bands, August Moon, which is a British boy band. And very similar to the movie, her husband was supposed to go, her ex-husband was supposed to go, and then he has something come up, and so she's the one taking over. And they have backstage passes, and the girls are so excited, and her daughter is 12. And what's her daughter's name, Emily? I didn't write it down. Do you remember?
Izzy.
Yeah, Isabel. Yeah.
Yes.
I was like, shit. But they fly. They live in LA. They fly to Vegas with like two. I think it's two friends. I think it's three total.
Probably.
Which I was like, my God. First of all, rich people. Second of all, can you imagine going to Vegas with 3 fucking 12-year-olds? Ay.
What's the point?
I know.
Why would you go to Vegas with children?
I know. Yeah,
it's a family spot.
I'm not. No, I'm parking my sweet little ass down at a slot machine and having a great time.
Getting wasted.
I don't need a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
Eating at the buffet.
Exactly.
At the pool, getting wasted at the pool. That's what I want.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't be on the lookout for a child.
No, and like that is like the internal monologue that we get from Selene of kind of thinking that her daughter is silly for being such a fangirl, and kind of judging her as well.
But Selene, yeah, she's a bitch. Like, she's not like a nice, friendly person.
We're not into this girl,
like,
by the way. We don't care for Selene.
No, okay. But like even in the movie, like there's parts where she's like she doesn't want to hear. She meets like a real fan of August Moon and is so judgmental and doesn't want to is so weird about this poor lady who just wants to talk excitedly about the thing they're there to see. And she does it multiple times throughout the movie. Like she doesn't get along with people.
No. It's because she's so French, but she's also so American. French.
Right.
She's of French descent, but she was born here. But she's still pretty French, and she makes it known the entire book.
The book makes it very...
Oh, no.
The book is very concerned with showing us that she's French the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Like
how French she
and
is.
showing us that she knows brand names.
Oh, yeah, she knows brand names.
Oh, they... So
like every time she drinks wine, it doesn't say, "Oh, and I was drinking wine," or "I was drinking a nice Cabernet." It's I was drinking from 2014. Yeah. Like names the vineyard and
if I have to hear about Tag Heuer one more time, the fucking watch brand. Okay.
We have to move on. We can't rant the entire time.
Sorry. But also we should say we usually don't. We usually are like, you know what, this is someone's art. We don't like to shit on it, but like
no.
In some cases when the author has made millions, it seems, I think it's okay to shit on it. So I think we're okay to shit on this.
This is different from like what we usually do, which is someone who is like self-published a Kindle Unlimited or a fan fiction writer who's doing it because they love it. Mm-hmm. She's fine. She's made a lot of money.
Yeah.
She can handle this criticism.
Yeah. She'll be okay.
I love that.
So
always.
Exactly.
Yeah. All the way up.
It's the backstage.
Yeah, they're backstage after the show. Or no, before the show. There's like a meet and greet. And so that's when like they wait in line and they go up to kind of meet the boys. And there's immediate flirting, I would say. Or at least she's immediately like, this is all above me, but he's kind of cute. And kind of like scoping out our boy Hayes Campbell, who is the founder of the band and kind of like, I don't know, he's like the, I'm gonna say he's like the Harry Styles, like he's the front
it was
man.
his idea.
Has the best possible chance of going solo. Like that's kind of his vibe.
He's the boy
boss.
He's
the
boy boss.
And
boy boss.
He's 20. He's 20 years old, and she is 39.
Yes.
So Selene is like a 19-year age difference.
Yes.
He's a few years older in the movie.
Yeah.
I've heard. Like 24.
Yes.
No, yeah, he's 20. Her daughter is 12. She's 39 and will turn 40 in about the middle of this book. So that's where we're at.
He'll turn 21 in the middle of the book too.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's rough.
But we will get to their first date where she's like, he can't even order a drink. And he's like, I'm famous. Yeah, I can. But she's like, but he's 20. It's not okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Help.
Anyways.
That's weird. Why are you writing a book like that?
It didn't need to be this way. She could have picked
It
any
didn't
other
need
ages.
to.
It would have been fine.
It would have been
Just
fine.
change the number.
The meet and greet happens, and then the concert happens, and like before the concert happens, he's like, I'm gonna get someone to come get you afterwards. You should come back. And the 3 12-year-olds.
You can do accents.
Sorry, it's my
so
narration. This is on my reel.
It's like who she is.
It's usually I'm really bad at them. If you listen to our latest episode. But they come back and he's basically flirting with her more. And then he's like, oh, I'm going to come to Bel Air soon. And she's like, I guess we could get lunch. And it's like this kind of like, it's kind of not decided on, but it kind of is.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I'll look you up when I'm in town. And she doesn't say
like,
no
sure
to it. And they exchange numbers. But one more thing, and then we have to move faster. But one more thing. The thing that makes her go finally admit to herself and to her internal monologue that he's cute is that all the members of the band have a worm off where they all do the worm to like show that
so
they
who can do it the best.
See who can do it the best.
Right.
And she's like, oh, he's so strong because he can do the worm.
I think it's
you know how such a sexual movement.
It's so sexual.
He's so strong. I want to sit on his face is like what she thought.
He's so strong. I want to sit on his face. Yes. So
who hasn't had a thought such as this?
If I had a nickel.
Sorry, I had to say that. I just had to make sure they knew
correct.
about the worm off. Yeah.
I want all these details. Please continue to give them to me.
Oh, we got some.
Okay, it's a Rom Complex Femmes Reading Filth crossover worm off competition. I'm out. all of age participants in Los Angeles and Chicago.
If you're which city has her worm.
Yeah. And this is where Sam's gonna find the love of her
Absolutely.
life.
Yeah,
so
it's gonna happen. Sorry, Sam. That's where you're gonna find
it. I don't want a worm. I want a human.
Moving forward, though, the chapters are cities that they meet in, and there is time that is in between them. So sometimes it's a couple days, sometimes it's a couple weeks. So it's going to keep time jumping. We're not really going to get into it too much, but just know that time has passed in between every city, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So
now we're back in Bel Air, right? That's where they're at. And they're going to meet for lunch. And the entire time she's like, well, he's so young and my daughter's a fan of him and I don't think this is okay, but I'm going to meet him anyway because maybe she's like an art dealer or something. She has a gallery. And so she's like, oh, maybe he can be a client. And that's like the lie that she's telling herself that we're reading about the entire time. And so they get to this lunch and they're just chatting and it's kind of normal. But he does confide in, like, he kind of randomly brings up how he lost his virginity to an older woman.
Which I don't like this age gap either.
How do you work that casually into a conversation?
That's the thing. He doesn't. It doesn't happen.
Guys do that shit all the time. They want you to know.
I don't want
there's
to know.
a pause, and then he goes, I lost my virginity to an older woman who's the sister of his bandmate Oliver.
And his like best friend.
His best friend and bandmate Oliver, he lost his virginity to Oliver's older sister.
Hey, that's another trope right there. Best friend, sister.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was 14, I think it says. And she was like 17 or 19, something like that.
She was like 19.
Whoa, one of those is a lot worse.
she was over 18 and he was 14.
Okay, yeah. Which I
don't
think
remember.
Is disgusting.
Yeah, it was great. But he like brings it up as like a flirty, like, see, I've been with older women before kind of thing. And she's like, and like continues flirting with him. Like, we have reactions as the reader to this. She has none. She's like, oh, what a fun story. Like, yeah.
But also, if you're going to claim this isn't a One Direction Harry Styles fanfic, Harry Styles also notably has dated older women, and like while he was on X Factor, he dated that one host lady. She did like Susan Boyle. Yes, Susan Boyle.
I didn't realize they knew each
Wow. Go Susan.
That was a good one. Good job.
Susan's a cougar. But yeah, so it's also just, I don't know. I'm like,
Yeah.
the comparisons
Yeah.
are there, babe. Stop denying it. Just ride this to
Right.
the bank.
Just
which you
let us
already
have
did.
this.
They go to New York next. They kind of end lunch, and it's like what?
It's
I don't
flirty,
know.
but they're not sleeping together yet, you know.
Yeah, he has a concert in New York. She says that she's gonna go do like an art thing, pretty much, but
Yeah.
she's like, I'm really there for him.
Right. She's there to like meet clients is her excuse, but not
Yeah.
really. And they meet for dinner, I believe. And then they like meet again at his hotel room.
Mhm.
And that's when they kiss. And it's very I think like anticlimactic. I don't know how you felt about it, Emily, but it's not like this big like music swelling type situation. It's just kind of like he grabs her and kisses her while they're in the
I was
hotel room.
embarrassed for them. I was just like, I don't know if I like this. And then they like part. Then they come back together, and then they go up to his room. She's like, let's do this. She's wearing a pencil skirt, which I know because she's mentioned it 4 times, and the brand, which I didn't write down. And he's like, can we take off this shirt? Can we do this? She's like, I'm keeping my skirt on. And I usually name
How?
a lot of these sex
How
scenes.
you gonna fuck in that,
I
babe?
know.
Well, I call this one number 1. I bet the skirt did some of the work, because if it's that tight and she comes like that fast from him, you know that there's got to be some pressure already there. Like half the work was done for him because of
Right.
the tight pencil skirt.
Right.
But like
Right.
I could not. I was just like, okay, he like gets in there somehow. I'm like, how long was the pencil skirt? Is he up there? I don't know. It's the whole thing.
Down from the top.
Oh, well, I don't think so. I think it's from the bottom up. I think he bottomed up with that pencil skirt.
He bottomed up. Okay, that's insane. Has anyone even read, like, has this author worn a pencil skirt? You can't pull it.
I don't
Worn
think
the Halara
maybe she-
ones
maybe-
that are stretchy. That's
The t-shirt.
the stretchy pencil
Yeah,
skirt.
very stretchy.
and that's New York.
And that's New York,
Like-
baby.
That's New
And
York.
he like
baby.
eats her out. They
Yep.
do they actually have sex in that
Good
one?
for
Hold
her.
on. I think they do.
I think he eats her out and then they have sex, but like this book also does a lot of fade to blacks, aka they don't describe the entire sex scene.
Mhm.
Boring.
They
some
kind of,
some they do.
I know.
I
Yeah,
hate a
sometimes
fade
they
to
do, but
black.
like for this one, I think he eats her out and then it's fade to black and then we get through context later that they
Yeah.
Well, I will say, going back to like their first kiss being anticlimactic. I don't know how far you got, Jess, but I enjoyed the kiss in the movie. I think it's kind of hot. He's
Yeah.
like at
Yeah.
the piano thumping out some music, and she walks over and is talking to him, and he like pulls her in close. And then there's this like power dynamic element where like she's higher than him, so then he gets up, and it's like, wow, he's a man.
Yeah.
And then he kisses her. And she's like, you're too young for me. And he's like, no, the fuck, I'm not. And he grabs her again. So it's like very like, okay,
Yeah.
I see what you're doing, Mr. Galzatine.
That I would have been fine with. Like
Mhm.
that would have been better. But yeah, it felt very just perfunctory. Yeah.
Kiss time now.
The first kiss is my favorite part in any
Right.
romance. That's like the
Yeah.
part that I'm looking for more than the sex. Like obviously we love a sex
It's
scene.
the tension. It's the buildup of the
Mhm.
tension and
And
then
it
the
finally
letting go of
breaking.
it. Yeah.
And I don't think
Yeah.
we got that in the book. And that's
No.
part of why like it just didn't
Because
didn't
it's not the
build.
tension isn't sexual tension. It's more like, is she really gonna do it? Because
Yeah.
she seems so like every other line in her head is, God, I'm old enough to be his mom. God, I'm
Yeah.
old enough to be his mom. And then it's like, oh, is she really gonna go in? And that's the quote unquote
That's
sexual
where the tension is. Yeah.
Lame.
But so she goes home. Then he invites her to France, not Paris, but the like French Riviera. They
Yeah.
like go to, a house.
Ooh.
And
Yep.
she's like, yeah, okay. And so she goes for a week, lies to everyone. So she lies to her business partner being like, I'm doing work stuff. She lies to her family being like, I'm doing work stuff. And she goes for a week. Okay, I'm looking at our notes right now. I think he just ate her out and fingered her in New York. I think they finally have sex in France.
Oh, on the yacht?
Mm-hmm.
Or after the yacht, right. No, you're right.
He also like they have sex and she turned off her phone. This is the big thing that I had issue with. She is the mother of a 12-year-old who is like, it's summertime, she's at camp or whatever. She's turned off her phone. She turns it back on after they have sex. She's missed like 5 calls from Isabel. She's like, I don't know. I could probably call her back later. She gets a 6th call and it's like, I got to answer this. And her daughter is like, hey, I just got my period. she's like, oh my God. She's like, well, that's great. We thought it was going to happen while you were at camp. She's like, I don't know what to do. Like, I wish you were
like,
here.
Her daughter's
Can you just
sobbing on the phone? Like, I'm at camp. I don't know what's happening. Like, horrified.
And like her dad and her dad's girlfriend, Eva, who is younger than Solène, are like around. And she's like, you can go to Ava. And she's like, don't tell dad. Like, I'm so embarrassed, blah, blah, blah. And it's this whole thing where she's like, okay. And then she gets off the phone. She's like, oh, I'm kind of bummed I missed like this whole life moment. But then she's like, whatever. And like turns her phone back off. And I'm like, you're in your child. Listen, I don't have kids. I don't think I'm ever going to have kids. But if your child that you claim to love is in another country, don't you think you'd keep your fucking phone on even if you're banging a 20-year-old?
Fuck that kid.
She's trying to get
no contact.
Well, anyways, that's my rant.
I think
am I the asshole? My child, 12.
Right.
F.
It's coming back to me, Emily, but if I'm remembering correctly, they start making out. She takes her shirt off, so she is only in her bra, and then her phone rings for a 6th time. She has that entire conversation in her bra, sitting on the bed next to naked Hayes Campbell, and then they have sex immediately after that conversation. Yes or no?
I think it's either there's an immediateness either right before or right after. It's one of the two. Again, can you tell how much we like
it this way? It's creepier that way.
It didn't have to be this way.
Let's see. Anything else on this place? I don't really care.
No, get out of here.
Let's go. Oh,
get out of
I will say. We do meet Oliver at this point, and he is with his girlfriend, but he makes like an odd comment to Solène, being like, yeah, you're fucking beautiful. You're fucking perfect. And it's enough that she's like, oh, that's kind of creepy. Like, this makes me feel yucky. So
she gets sad vibes
that in mind.
From Oliver. Yes.
Okay.
So the next place is West Hollywood.
Yep. At her gallery.
He comes to visit
at the Pink Pony
Club. I wish. Solène tells her coworker, who I believe is named Lulit, Lulit.
Yeah,
Lulit, who's also French. Also French.
Yeah. French.
Yep. Okay, listen. I will say one of the text messages I sent Shelby while watching this movie was not only how ridiculous the name Solène is, but how ridiculous it is in the world of these other characters who have seemingly normal names. So I'm actually kind of glad she has a weird French friend in the book, because I'm like, okay, at least we can say that like they're on par. But the movie, it's like freaking Hayes, Izzy, like, I don't know, some
Daniel,
they're
all
Daniel.
They're all so normal,
Eva.
And then it's like Solène, and you're like, what the fuck is going on here?
She tells her coworker that she's fucking this 20-year-old, and her coworker's like, oh, and who else is he fucking? And she has a panic attack, being like, oh my God, he has a girl in every city. And they like, they talk, and he's like, she tries to define the relationship, but they don't really. Hayes is like, I promise if I sleep with anyone, like, you will be the first to know. But I'm probably not going to. Yeah. And then...
Which, like, you are an almost 40-year-old woman. It never occurred to you that the rock star on a world tour might be sleeping with other people. Like, all right.
She brings him to work, and he, like, purchases her favorite painting, like, for her. And then the only other thing about this is that this chapter holds one of Jessica's favorite quotes.
Oh, wait, which one was it? Oh. Later, after they fail to define the relationship, we don't see the sex scene that happens, but in her internal monologue, we fucked like rock stars that night.
Help.
Yes.
And I bet the song Rockstar by Nickelback was playing, and I bet it's just like, it was like a movie.
I will say, in the movie, the boy band songs actually were really good. I really enjoyed all of the August Moon songs.
That's great. I love that.
They were fun. It was a fun time. I will also say, too, that, like, I think the problem that I'm hearing, tell me if I'm hearing what you guys are saying correctly, is that the writer of this book wrote a 40-year-old woman, but gave her the intelligence of a 20-year-old. Like, she's not she should be more knowledgeable about like dating and relationships and like obvious shit. Like 20-year-olds are out fucking other 20-year-olds. Like, hello.
I also have a theory here.
Do it.
So when a lot of people have a kid young, get married, have a kid young, romantically they kind of stop aging, stop maturing a lot. This is not across the board. Listen, I'm not a scientist.
Well, you are a woman in STEM.
No, but I
am just a woman in STEM.
I could see that.
So like in the movie it makes sense because he's like 24, she's 40, her kid's 17, so she had her kid around the age that he is now. In the book, she had her kid at like 28, which is much more mature than 23, 24. There's a lot goes on in your throughout your 20s.
That is correct.
So it makes less sense.
Yeah, it makes less sense.
And is weirder for her to be into it.
Yeah, it just makes it weirder across the board. And then the other thing is one of her coworker goes, because I think she tells another coworker or somebody else finds out
when she brings him to work with him.
When she brings him to work, and they all find out, and they're all a little bit younger. So like one of them is like a couple of them are fans of August Moon, and one of them goes, "Oh yeah, Hayes, he only ever dates older women. Wait, how do you know him?" And she's like, he only ever dates older women? Oh my god, I had no idea.
I'm old?
And it like sends her off on another panic attack.
Yeah.
And it's like, girl, he has a type, and you're it. And everyone knows that.
But also, Shelby, your rationalization and like psychoanalysis of why she might be a dumb 24-year-old in the brain and not is giving this writer way more credit than she deserves. You're finding you're connecting these dots that she doesn't even know are in the story.
But the next place they meet is the Hamptons.
Yes.
Yeah. And
it's basically for a sex vacation. They go, she once again kind of lies to
everyone.
Most people. And decides to go to the Hamptons with Hayes and then with Oliver and his girlfriend. And their whole plan is to just hang out and have sex for the week, which they do, and they're getting more into each other and they're talking and all this stuff, but she's still getting weird vibes from Oliver.
Yeah. I missed 2 sex scenes, by the way. There was sex scene number 2 happened, I believe, in France, which I called middle name BJ, in which she's about to give him a BJ and she goes, "I don't even know your middle name." And then he tells her and she goes, "Okay." And it's just like so weird. And then this one is called BJ in a Field, in which they're walking around in one of the fields. Then they lay down. She's like, "It's so 90s. I'm going to give you a BJ." And it's like, huh?
So 90s.
And then she's like, "I gave so many people
90s.
BJs in the 90s." And I was like, I can't. So that's the Hamptons. Anyway,
they go back to LA and there's starting to be rumbling, like blind items, basically.
And one of like Daniel's friends, who is like a manager, saw her and Hayes at lunch together, and he's like, "I'll keep your secret." But then Daniel's like,
mentions it to her ex-husband, Daniel, rightfully so, is like, "Hey, are you like with this guy? It would be devastating to our daughter if you are." That's what he's trying to talk to her about, and be like, "If you are, then we should talk about it, or I should know, or what are you doing? Because this is going to really hurt her. Not only because of the age difference, but also because she loves this band, and you're kind of ruining this band for her."
Yeah,
but she won't admit to it at all. Yeah, she won't talk to him about it.
In the movie, they definitely paint Daniel as just an asshole. I mean, I do think that they characterize Solène as a bit of a more caring mother, right? Like, even from the beginning, the whole like Daniel had to go on the business trip and that's why she ended up going to the concert. That whole situation was painted more of like, oh, you'll always choose something over your own kid. You know, that
he
kind
does
of
come
thing.
off. He does come off as a little bit of an asshole here too. And I will say, there is like a full through line of guilt in her head because like she isn't not a caring mother, but in this, this is such a thing of like, well, you know, I have to choose me sometimes. But I'm like, no, if you have a kid, you can't really choose. Like, you can't be that selfish.
No.
And she's continuously being super selfish. Daniel's kind of an asshole for most of the time. And then every time he leaves, he makes a good point. And then you're like, damn it. Like,
yeah, like
want
this
to
man
agree
is an
with the
asshole,
asshole.
but
yeah.
right, like he cares.
That's the thing about assholes.
They have Hayes comes to LA. There's a big gallery opening. He comes to the gallery opening. They're like not really together there because they don't want to like spark rumors, but he ends up buying another piece of art. He has it delivered to her house, and then he comes to her house, bends her over her table, and fucks her in front of the art. So very, very French, I guess. I don't know.
Good for them, honestly.
In front of the
In
art.
front of the art.
How scandalous.
Cover the poor art's eyes.
So next is Paris.
Yeah.
And she actually has to go because there's like an art fair. And it's also her birthday. And she always goes to Paris on her birthday.
Her 40th birthday.
Her 40th birthday.
Of course she always goes to Paris on her birthday.
She is French. She's so French. Hayes expresses his love, his growing love for Solène. She ends up bringing him out like with some of her artsy friends. And he's like,
all of whom have ridiculous French names.
They have a sex scene here, which I just called Sex in Paris. We cry about the art because there's like tears and it's so beautiful. And she's like, this is just like pure. And I'm like, fuck off, Solène. Anyways, God, I hated this book. So she continues to struggle with the I can't say this word.
Publicization
of
publicize.
There it is.
I don't know. Publicization.
I think you got it. Of their relationship. The press is getting closer. It kind of freaks her out. The age difference is still in there. That's upsetting her. And it ends with Hayes being like, I'm your boyfriend, and gives her a diamond bracelet.
Yeah. And again, she keeps bringing up being uncomfortable, but then every single thing that he does, like buying art and buying her a diamond bracelet, she's like, oh, for me? Oh, I'm so special. I'm so wonderful. And like all concerns go out the door for about, half a chapter. And then they all come back again.
So she's just like shallow and selfish.
Yeah, a little.
Yeah, she is. I also stopped naming sex scenes at this point because this is where it starts to get more like fade to black. So we won't get my normal charm here. Next is Malibu. They make plans to go to like a Airbnb. I don't know. Like he rented a house in Malibu, but she ends up not being able to go.
Yeah, and he gets like mad at her basically about it, right?
Yeah. Well, so Daniel has to go on another business trip, so she has to watch Isabel. Like Isabel has to stay at her house.
And that wasn't the original plan. Like Daniel calls. I know.
Mm-hmm.
She hates
She
hates it, and Hayes gets angry about it too. Yeah. And like gets
he's
annoyed.
More like bummed. He's like, I get it, but like, oh, I already came out here. And then they end up going
stuff.
They go to dinner. And he drives her home in the car, and he kisses her in the car. Mm-hmm. And then Solène walks back into her house, and Isabel's like, did you just fucking kiss Hayes? Like, what? And it's this whole blow up.
That the daughter catches them and not like the media.
Yeah.
Like she snuck out of the house. Like she left her daughter home alone, snuck out of the house to still go on a date with her 20-year-old boyfriend. And then they made out in the driveway, and her daughter saw her because of course she did.
Her daughter simply looked out the window.
Yes.
But it's actually a pretty horrible. She's really upset. It's a pretty horrible scene.
She doesn't speak to her for like a week. Isabel's like, she ices her out. Hayes comes over, speaks to Isabel, and is like, I like you, Mom. I like you too. Like it's a whole thing. And
because her daughter is breaking down. Is like, Mom, I saw you kissing him, but I love him. Yeah. I've loved him for years, because he's such a good singer, and I love him, but he chose you instead. And then the next day, Hayes comes over and is like, I care about you too, but not like that. And that's supposed to be
you're
fine.
12.
Yeah, you're 12, but it's still a really screwed up situation to put a 12-year-old in.
Yeah,
it is funny too because in the movie, Hayes is not her favorite August.
Oh,
yeah. It's Rory. And that actually becomes a sticking point later in the story when Solène is fighting with Daniel about something. Because Daniel's like, oh, you're with this guy. She's had a poster of this guy up on her wall for since she was 10 or something like that. And she's like, no, actually, she never liked Hayes. She liked Rory.
She liked Rory.
Oh,
it's just
man.
like,
Yeah,
It
they
was
did
always
do
Rory.
They did
They
do
did
a
a lot of
lot
difference.
to yeah, in the movie to make it a little easier to take in.
Really, in the first part of the movie, she's kind of like cool.
She's pretty chill.
She owns an art gallery. She seems like a good mom, you know? She literally curates art. Like she's living her dream. What
I bet
a
it's
cool
cooler,
job to have.
It's cooler because we can't hear inside her head.
That's true.
Right. Well, the thing is it goes bad because she goes and sees 20-year-olds and they make her self-conscious of like,
I mean, who would
her? It's like, where's the confidence?
To like gloss all this over though, Hayes gives Isabel, her friend, and Selene passes to the August Moon documentary premiere that will be happening in New York in 2 chapters. The next place they go is Miami.
There's another art fair.
Lots of art fairs, it seems.
Yes, lots of art fairs.
I didn't know they still happened, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a
they do.
The news is starting to get out about Hayes. Like more blind items are happening about Hayes and Selene. They are spotted in Miami. Hayes is like, just ignore it because it's gonna get worse. And she's
he like
what?
takes her hand. She's upset, and he's like, so it's gonna get worse. It's gonna get really, really bad, and you just need to ignore it. And she's like. Because she also has not thought about this at all. She's shocked that her privacy is being invaded and that there are blind items about them. And he's like, yeah, no, paparazzi follow me everywhere. Of course this is happening. And I'm
the front man of a very popular band.
She kind of tries to end it, and then he's like, no, I love you. She's like, okay. And then her coworker's like, dude, I thought this was just a fling. Like, you gotta like tighten your shit up because this is gonna start affecting the art world.
Rocking the art world to its very core.
And they run into another older woman. Hayes says, oh, that's Fiona. And I broke up her marriage accidentally. They get into a fight.
Whoops.
Yeah, we gloss over that. They get into a fight. He admits that he broke up the marriage. She's like, how many people have you slept with? He's like, listen, I want to be with you forever. And then that's the end of that chapter. So, like, this is how the chapters read too. And you're just like, what the fuck?
Yep. Yeah.
So it's New York now. It's the documentary premiere.
They get caught by the paparazzi together. It's very clear that they are together. And it's in the zeitgeist now. It is known that the lead singer of August Moon, basically, is dating this older woman and blah, blah, blah. They're canoodling.
But isn't that his thing?
But now it's confirmed.
Wouldn't it have been
it was always rumors before.
Previously in his other relationships with other women? Or this is his first public
I think this is his first. Well, like, it seems like the others were rumors.
Yikes.
Never, like, nothing confirmed.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before the premiere, she goes on a run, and she comes back in. And she goes in the elevator to go up, and she meets an older gentleman who kind of like gives her the eye and is like, wow, like, what are you doing tonight? And she's like, I'm busy. And he's like, well, my room number is, 227 if you want to come by later. So that she's
floor?
Like, oh.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No,
she kind of like flirts
back.
Yeah, she enjoys the attention.
Yeah, doesn't mean anything by
it.
They go to the party, and Isabel is having the time of her life. At the party, Hayes kisses Selene publicly, and he's like, hey, meet my parents. And he takes her over to a table and is met with his...
It's his dad, isn't it?
It's his dad. His dad is the one that hit on her. And she meets his mom. And she's like, oh, this is interesting. And she goes to the bar. The dad follows. And she goes, is that really your room number? And he's like, I don't know. Kind of like brushes it off. And like, that's the end of that conversation. I'm like, that's so fucking awkward.
Yikes.
Oliver's hot sister who took Hayes' virginity is also there. And Selene is like, well, anyways.
How dare you?
Right. She has all these thoughts about like, well, he does have a type and she looks a lot like me and I'm going to try to not think about it. But she's raging inside.
Next is Boston and Anguilla. I don't know how to pronounce. Caribbean. Boston and the Caribbean.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
There we go. But it's once again, they're like yachting. They're like doing rich people shit.
I was just about to say doing rich people shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so she goes to visit and he keeps saying that he loves her. I don't think she said that she loves him yet. She hasn't.
I don't think so.
But he keeps being like, I love you so much. I care about you so much. You're so amazing. And he starts to be like, what do you think, like, if we had a kid together? what do you think that would be like?
What the?
She's like, I'm fucking 40, dude. No.
Yes.
He's like, I wouldn't make you give up your work if we had a kid. And she's like, okay.
Yeah.
Are you gonna carry
Right.
it? Right.
Yeah. And so they have a lovely time. They go out while they're out on the yacht, and he's talking about having kids. He eats her out, and it's fun. And we have a great time.
Yeah.
Once again, a
Good for
really
her.
weird,
Sexy convo.
right? Good for her, but like, why is that conversation happening and then
Yeah.
going immediately into being eaten out?
We'll call that one number 6, seafood. We'll just call
Right.
that one.
But then they get back on shore and like get back to whatever hotel room resort they're staying at, and Hayes checks his phone and basically starts going like, oh shit, oh no, oh god, and like goes up to Selene and is like, hey, it's really bad. And photos of him eating her out on the yacht have been captured and sent to the press.
Oh no!
And
I
they're
was so
like Princess
annoyed by
Diana
this.
style, like boat out in the middle of nowhere. They've captured these photos seen around the world. Yeah.
I was so mad because I'm like, more Hayes. I was like, you're followed by paparazzi. You are
Right.
out in the open. There are boats around you. Why do you
Go
think it's
inside.
okay? Go inside. And like, Celine is dumb as shit. She doesn't know anything, but like, Hayes should know better. So I was like, why? I was so mad at this. I was mad at them because I'm like, that is so irresponsible. That is irresponsible thing.
Yeah. So now that is like the official, like, yeah, they're not just dating now. It's not like they're publicly dating. Now there's a scandal.
Yeah.
And she's horrified.
She goes home, finds out. I mean, Isabel knows everything now. It's awful. There's a bunch of messages, I think, on her work phone, like at the gallery, and like it's just it's getting bad. But they go to Aspen for Hayes' 21st birthday so we can finally try alcohol.
Gross.
Yay!
Yeah. And Selene finally is like, I feel it. I love you. And he's like, oh my God. Oh, she goes, I was making sure it was you and not the idea of you.
Ew.
They said it. They said it. They said it.
No. Wait, that's the name of the book.
It's
the name of the book.
Guys, that's writing. That's how writing happens.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it comes back around.
Yikes.
They fuck, whatever, it's cool. Beverly Hills is back. It's the Grammys. They got nominated for a Grammy. They don't win. That's okay.
No, they win no Grammys.
She spends the night with him in a hotel. And that morning, and like
and they have anal sex.
Wow.
Oh, and they try anal.
level
Yeah.
They
up.
try anal.
Hey, you don't get that on it in every
That's
book.
true.
Yeah.
You don't get
It was
that
a
in every
consolation for the
rom-com.
Grammy loss, probably.
Well, and she goes,
Yeah.
he asks her to, she goes, do you have any lube? And he goes, we'll figure it out. And then
Classic 21-year-old.
Wait.
Yes. And
Dude, that's every guy trying to do anal. Every guy in his 20s trying to do
was
anal
fine.
for the first time. He's like, wait, she might let me?
She might let me do this.
I had no plan. I just thought I'd shoot my shot. Now I have to.
Yeah.
Right. Fuck.
Yeah.
Do you want to
So,
tell
like-
this next part, Jess?
Sure. So so they have anal, but we don't
Very
see any of
important.
that. She like agrees.
Fade to black.
He goes, we'll figure it out, and then we jump to the aftermath. He's fast asleep.
Why do you put that in?
Right. We don't get any of that. He's fast asleep. She hears somebody outside in the hallway knocking on like the door across the way, which she knows is Liam's door. It's one of the other boys' doors. And it's a woman, it's a girl, and she's like, let me in. Can you let me in? Like, I'm sorry, I screwed up. Can you let me in? And she pokes her head out, and it's like a young girl, and she's like crying, and Selene's like, what's going on? And the girl's like, he said he'd give me a cab, but he didn't, and my phone is dead, and I don't know what to do. And so Selene is like, okay, well, like, at least give me your phone. And she takes her phone to go charge it. And Hayes has like kind of woken up a little bit, and he's like, what's going on? And she's like, well, there's a girl outside. I don't know what's going on, but like, I'm charging her phone. And he starts to basically, and she's like, I'm going to let her come in here and like stay here while her phone charges. And he starts to freak out and is like, we can't have any of her DNA in my hotel room, Like, she can't come in here. Yeah, she can't come in here. I don't know what went down, but, like, I don't want any of her DNA in our hotel room. Like, she can't come in here. Yeah.
Why are we bringing DNA
Yeah,
into this?
It comes up later. It comes up later.
Oh, God.
But,
Yeah, but
Wait,
still.
yeah, but, like, suspicious.
Yeah.
Sir, why are you talking about DNA? DNA
No
to
one was
me?
talking about DNA until
like
you brought it
Well,
up.
No one brought up
and
DNA.
she's like, dude, this is someone's daughter. And he's like, well, whatever, like, fix it. And then
Yeah, he tries to call the bodyguard, and it's like, the bodyguards will take care of it, like, call them. But it's 3 a.m., and they can't get a hold of, or they don't initially get a hold of them. And so Selena's like, I'm going to get her a cab. Like, and he's mad at her for getting involved at all.
She goes, hey, do you have a kid at Linwood? She goes, yeah.
Oh, yeah, the girl that's crying and, like, has
she goes, you look familiar. Do you have a kid at this school? And Selene's like, how old are you? She's like, 18. She goes, no. How old are you? She goes, I'm 16. And she goes, all right. And then they end up getting her home, and she's pissed. Selena's pissed, but that's it. After this, there is an influx of harassment at the gallery. And, like, there's, I believe there's graffiti that says, like, die, bitch. There's like, bad messages being left.
She gets a dildo mailed to her anonymously.
Like, at her house.
At her house. Like, people are starting to harass her.
Was it a good dildo at least? Like, decent quality?
No.
Yeah,
it doesn't
like,
bad dildo.
Oh,
was
man.
the dildo.
It could have been
a gesture of kindness and friendship.
Right.
Yeah.
Daniel confronts her about all this. Like, he comes over one day and he's like, what is this? And he sees, like, the package, and he's like, he's like, I'm really worried about, like, Isabel being here. Like, do I need to get, like, full custody? And then she freaks out and she's like, no, I'm fixing it. And it's this whole moment of, like, that's kind of shitty to say, but also, does he have a good point?
Right.
Like every Daniel interaction, it's shitty, but it might be the right idea.
Like, he sucks, but he's not wrong.
There are kinder ways to tell the truth. But
He's an asshole, so he doesn't know how to do that.
She's kind of, like, realizing that the pressure is getting to her daughter, because also, like, she has a conversation with Isabel about basically, like, how she's getting bullied at school and how, like, kids are using this to be shitty and be like, your mom, like, I saw pictures of your mom getting eaten out on a boat. Like, it's rough. Inescapable. Kids are mean. So I don't blame Daniel for being like, do I need to remove our daughter from this situation? Later on, she ends up flying to Argentina to join Hayes on tour because that's what she agreed to do.
No, it didn't change her mind after anything.
No, not really. They love each other.
It's like the Latin American part. So she goes to, like, 3 countries with them. And in one of the, I did like this little, like, tidbit. In one of the planes, she sits across from, like, I think it's like Rory and Liam or something. And she's like, hey, that girl was 16. And they're like, what? Nuh-uh. And they're like, she said she was 18. And she's like, you guys got to get your shit together and, like, know what you're doing. Because that girl was 16 and that could have been really bad. And they're like, oh, and they kind of, like, sober up to that idea. And so she gives them, like, a good stern mom talking to. And I was like, honestly, I liked that part.
Yeah, that was one of the only times I liked her in the entire.
Yeah. Oliver continues to act kind of, like, creepy towards her, and she finally confides in Hayes about this, which I was like, finally. I didn't think he was being a very good boyfriend, though, because, like, he was like, it's just Oliver. And I was like, nah, I don't think that's true. No. And right before they are...
Yeah, it's just Oliver, a bad person.
Yeah.
Right before they perform in Brazil, Oliver and Hayes get into a big fight. Oliver kind of, like, mentioned, he's like, I know that you slept with my sister, kind of thing. And Hayes kind of makes mention to being like, are you mad that I slept with your sister? And like, alludes to Oliver being gay, pretty much, and, like, being, like, jealous.
Yeah.
And
Oliver, like, wanting Hayes. What the fuck? Yeah, wanting Hayes for himself.
Yeah. He punches Hayes in the nose.
Whoa.
And Hayes cannot go on stage that night, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he breaks his nose.
Yeah, but then the next day they, like, make up and they're all good because they're, like, best friends. And they're like, I'm sorry. And Selene's just like, Okay.
That's how boys solve problems. They just punch each other and it's all better.
So feelings.
So Liam and Rory get
Honestly,
a stern talking to, but Oliver can just punch Hayes and
well, he had some anger he had to get out, so no.
Clearly.
Apparently.
Yeah. Then he's like, promise me you'll come to Japan for the Japanese leg of the tour. And she's like, totally, yes. Selene goes to New York for business. Then she comes home and she gets more harassment from crowds of fans. This is when she ends up losing a client who they like go out to dinner, I believe. And then they're like, oh, who's your boyfriend? And she's like, oh, he's a musician. And then like someone tells the client who who the musician is.
A fan approaches her table to
take a photo with her.
To take a photo with her because she's dating Hayes, and their client is clearly like, oh, like very, very French and very like, oh, well, that's not very like classy. Like she's very put off at the idea of like the lack of privacy and just like the general publicity of Selene, and ends up being like, well, I went with a gallery that's a little more private.
So that happens. And then she picks up her daughter from school. And her daughter is like, just go. And you see like all these people kind of like looking at the car. And she learns that her daughter has like keeps getting bullied basically. And she's been trying to hide it because her daughter's like, but you're so happy. Like, I don't want you to be alone. But this also sucks for me. And that night Selene like calls Hayes, who is in Japan already. And is like, I think we got to end this. And Hayes is like, no.
He cries.
He cries.
He's like, you promised to come to Japan with me. And
if I did my chores, you said that I could have a ice cream cone tonight after dinner.
She agrees to go. She's like, you're right. I did say that.
I promise.
I promise. So she goes to Japan.
What the fuck?
And
that's so stupid.
They are like, it gets worse. Like have you ever seen the One Direction documentary?
Yes. Which one?
No.
The big one, right? I've seen multiple. I've seen a couple, but like the one
the big one. The one that was in theaters. Yeah.
Yes.
There's the scene of when I think they're in Japan and they are shopping. Is it Japan or is it somewhere else? They're like shopping and they start getting mobbed and they have to go into a store and they have to like wait until the car comes around and there's all like it gets like kind of scary. And this is like the scene that happens here. Like they're walking and then they get like mobbed by people. They have to go into a car and it's like 4 days of them hanging out. And Selene's like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
We're done. Can't do this.
Yeah. You keep doing this shit. Yeah.
Yeah. She officially breaks it off after all of that. All like 4 days of them hanging out, but also crying and arguing. It's like a 4-day long breakup where they're also being like mobbed by fans continuously. It sounds like hell.
And like
having sex too. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah,
having sex. Yeah.
Obviously, they're still having sex and crying and breaking up.
So we're in the last chapter. Yeah. Oh God, it's multitasking is crazy. We're in the last chapter now. This is home. She is home.
She's home.
Thank God. Selene nurses her heartbreak. She doesn't get out of bed for like a week.
Her daughter is trying to comfort her and is
sweet.
Like, Mom, I just really want you to be happy and I'm so sorry that this happened.
That poor girl. The trauma.
I know.
Of all of this.
Yeah.
She's a good baby. She's
trying. She's trying her
Selene
best.
is not. Isabel is. And then Isabel's like, hey, I'm going to go to my room, but like, it'll be okay. And she goes to her room. And then there's a knock on the door. And Hayes has shown up at the house.
Oh, no.
But we
unannounced. And he's like, I have a 3-day break and I just had to see you and I missed you and I love you. And they have sex like 3 times, which with Isabel in the next room, which I was like,
again,
is
trauma. That
crazy.
girl needs therapy.
And the whole time they're having sex, his phone keeps vibrating. And she even makes like a couple comments of like, oh, you're really popular. And he's like, haha, yeah. And then they and then right,
sure am.
And then after they have sex the 3rd time, they're like laying in bed, his phone vibrates again and he admits, oh, actually I quit the band so that we could be together.
Oh
and
my
everyone's
God.
trying to get in touch with me. Yes. And she goes, no, why did you do that? Like, no. And like finally has a realization that this is really fucked up, and she's like what she
and
says,
that she's too old for him.
she's too old for him. And she also goes like, you're about to go, he's about to go solo, like she's like, you can't throw away your career for this, I won't let you do that. And like basically then breaks up with him again because of
but
that.
for real. Yeah.
Yeah, I think at one point she's like, you're only in a boy band once. Like, it's like, this is like a once in a lifetime thing. Like, seriously. And I was like, honestly, that's a great point. Like,
it's very mothering.
She's like,
of her.
you're 21, you're in a boy band once, just live this out right now.
Yeah.
And
everyone only gets their 10 minutes in a boy band, and they
you gotta savor it.
And then he leaves, and then she's like, and then he texted or tried to call me every day for like a couple months, and then he stopped. The end.
That's the end of the book.
Get the fuck out.
That's
the fucking end. Also,
that's
can I
not
say
how
like
the movie ends? I will tell you
three
that.
chapters. What?
No.
Wait, 3 chapters before the end though. I wrote in my notes, I really want them to break up. Just like, I fucking can't do this anymore. That's the idea of you. It abruptly ends, and I texted Jess, and I was like, Jessica, this just ends. Like, I was shocked.
I still had another like 3 chapters to go, and I was like, what? And then so it just completely ends. How does the movie end? Because I didn't get that far.
A lot of the similar stuff happens in the whole, like, she gets bullied. She gets online bullied. They don't, like, there are paparazzi at her house, but there's no like real, no one's like leaving her death threats and stuff like that. Like, that's not happening. But she is getting them online, calling her like a whore and a bitch and she should die and all that kind of stuff. So when Izzy gets bullied, that is when she tries to break up with Hayes the first time. And then he comes over, they have sex, I think, in the kitchen. And then she's like, okay, this is like, it's like their breakup sex. They're like, this is it. And so he leaves. And before he leaves, he said, promise me something. Like, if both of us are single in 5 years, essentially, like in 5 years, we will come back together. And she tells him, she's like,
rethink this.
Well, yeah, we'll rethink this. And she's like, well, if you find it, 5 years is a long time, which I'm like, bitch, no, it's really not, but okay. She's like, if you find your happiness in that time, like, pursue it. Don't let the idea of me. She does not say that. She doesn't say it, but she's like, don't let that.
It's implied.
She's like, don't let that get in the way. And they agree. Mm-hmm. And then they both move, because they're like, oh, in 5 years, Izzy will be like out of school. This won't like touch her.
She won't get bullied anymore.
Right.
She'll be 22.
She'll be 22. Like, it'll never touch her again.
Almost as old as me.
She'll be my age. So then 5 years passes, and she's like alone at home, and she's watching TV, and there's like a special. Hayes has gone single, like he's gone solo, not single. He's gone solo. He's on the Graham Norton show. No fucking lie, it's Graham Norton. And he's playing his little song, and then he's talking to Graham afterwards, and he's like, oh, I hear you have some like time coming up. You're gonna go to LA, and like, what are you doing in LA? And he's like, oh, I just gotta see someone. And so then she watches that, but she like doesn't dare to hope. And she
credit? No.
Not
doesn't
for me.
dare.
She doesn't dare to hope. And so then it's later on, she's in the art gallery. You can tell she's kind of like skittish. And then she's like in her office, like writing something in a notebook, and she hears the guy who works there or whatever, like talking to someone. So she goes out, and then who turns around? It's Hayes with facial hair and his little earring.
It's Graham Norton with facial hair.
It's Graham Norton is that real love.
The real love that she wanted this whole time. Yeah, and so then that's it. That's where it ends. It's like,
okay.
And they get to, and then she smiles and she cries and she's
so happy because now they can be together because it's been 5 years.
All right. Well, that's great for her.
That would have been a better ending for the book. Like, clearly, clearly somebody was like, we have to add something because this is not going to work on screen.
I did read an article about the guy who I think he directed it. Maybe he also helped write the script for it because
Michael Showalter of Wet Hot American Summer.
Yes, which is crazy,
right?
Yeah,
It's so weird. Yeah. Why did Michael Showalter do
money?
Because
Anne Hathaway probably called him and was like,
okay,
I'm Anne Hathaway. Do it.
Hi, I'm Anne Hathaway.
Hi, it's me, Anne Hathaway.
Well, speaking of Anne Hathaway, we do have a little game. So obviously we pictured Anne Hathaway most of this time for this book because, she's synonymous with it now. If you could, what was the question we wanted to ask, Jess?
Because we're talking to the Rom Complex,
yes.
The question that I wanted to ask is there a mom... Is there a female character from another rom-com that you think would have been a shittier mom than Selene from The Idea of You?
Ooh, who's a bad mom?
She doesn't even have to have kids in the rom-com, but if you just think that there is someone that comes to mind that is not meant for motherhood, we will accept that as well.
Sam Frontera. No. Another character. Oh God, this is hard.
It's okay. You can take a second.
Because my gut reaction.
Well, Sam's having.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say Sam's having a problem with this because she likes the teen rom-coms and of course those would all
Joey
be bad
King from the Kissing Booth.
Joey King from the Kissing
Joey
Booth.
King. Joey, I'm sorry, Joey.
Shelby hates you, Joey.
My gut reaction, though, was Judy Greer in 37 Dresses.
27 Dresses.
20. What did I say?
30? No, this is a sequel.
37.
This is a different.
Okay, we knew what you meant.
Drunk. 27 Dresses.
This is
Take
the
that
new
out.
one.
Edit that in post. Judy Greer from 27 Dresses. Because remember, in that movie, she's kind of all over the place, but then she's also the voice of reason at the end. So it's I feel like she'd be a bad mom.
Yeah, it'd be a lot.
She'd just be out having sex with random men.
Yeah, she's not meant for it. She's not meant for motherhood. And
No.
that's fine. I mean, not all of us are.
In that vein, I think the sister from 27 Dresses would actually be a worse mom, TBH.
Yeah, I think pretty much anyone in 27, any of the Dresses.
That is, sometimes in rom-coms, there's a character who's kind of a baby and needs someone to help them get their shit together. And you don't want to be a baby and have a baby.
No.
Correct.
Yeah. My first thought was Bridget Jones from Bridget Jones' Diary.
She grows up.
She has a baby, doesn't she? The most recent one?
She has a baby.
Does she? I haven't seen the most recent one, but having also read the Bridget Jones books, the body stuff and the weight stuff.
Yeah.
If she hasn't fully conquered that trauma for herself, I don't feel that, especially if she had a daughter, I would be a little bit concerned about Bridget.
I was going to say, if she had a daughter, that's when things get,
shit gets hairy at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about, I just thought of the evil witch in Enchanted. She would probably be a bad mom.
I think she'd be a bad mom too.
Yeah, she'd be a bad mom.
That's a good answer. I'll take that answer.
Thank you. She's you're like, Mom, can you pick me up from school? And she's like, I turned into a dragon.
I can't.
I'm busy.
Sorry.
I can't. Sorry. I'm in New York City.
So, having heard our synopsis of The Idea of You, and you two having seen the movie, can you rate this book out of 5 raccoons in trash cans? 5 being, it's so good, and 1 being, oh my. I guess in comparison to the movie, I think that might be the best way to do this. What would you guys rate it?
So, from what you've said about the book, it's sounding god-awful. 1 raccoon in a trash can would not touch it with a very large pole to hit trash with.
Yeah, I was going to ask if there was a negative raccoons in trash can option.
All
the trash cans are empty. All the trash cans are empty. Not a single raccoon.
Our raccoons cannot eat.
There's a tumbleweed. Yeah.
All the it's trash day, trash pickup day. All the trash is gone. There's no raccoons to be had. It's
raccoons
cleared.
are elsewhere. They're having a party. They're reading a different book.
Right.
Yeah. I think that's fair. I think that was a fair rating.
And we never go in expecting to hate a book, but we very organically did end up hating this one.
Yeah. This one took us a while to read.
Yeah. I think that's fair. To be honest, like, I don't think the movie's that bad. I think they did a lot of fucking work to make you not only like Solen's character, but also like Hayes. Like, from everything you've said, Hayes sounds like a douchebag in the book version. And in this one, he's just like an earnest 24-year-old kid who didn't expect to get famous and really likes this lady that he met. They also meet differently.
He's an artist.
She's an artist. You know, they get each other. And she's way less pretentious. She still has, I will say, and Shelby, I don't know if you agree with me on this point, I love Anne Hathaway. Anne, if you're listening.
Yes. I like her too. Yeah.
But there were so many points while I was watching this movie where I could see her acting. Does that make sense? Where I was like, you're moving in that way, or you're saying it in this way because you're like wanting to portray something instead of actually just portraying it.
It's not natural.
It didn't feel natural.
Acting.
Yeah. And it also might, Anne, don't hate me. I swear to God, I love you and I'm not trying to hate on you. But like, I don't know if you guys saw a lot of the press for this movie, but like the way that Anne Hathaway was just singing Mr. Galzatine, I love that I keep calling him Mr. like he's my elder. Yeah. But like the way that she talked about Nicholas Galzatine in all of the promo stuff felt weird. I don't know. That just might be me. I feel uncomfortable. Like she kind of had star eyes when she was talking about him.
Okay.
And the age gap is not the same as it is in the movie, but there is still definitely an age gap. So I was like, okay. Like,
yeah, you got a vibe. Yeah.
It just was a little strange to me. So I don't know if that might have influenced when I actually finally watched the movie, where I was like,
you were like looking for looking for it.
Yeah. But I love Anne Hathaway. She's a very talented actor. I enjoyed the movie, like I said. So yeah, they did a lot of plussing up to that script for sure. Because my goodness.
Yeah, they did a lot to bring it back. Because what I expected based on the press tour was like Anne Hathaway, I remember her talking a lot in the press tour about like, it's about women's empowerment and empowerment for older women, and like we can be sexy too and have sexy times. And like I kind of got that in the movie. I didn't really get that at all in the book.
Definitely not.
I was hoping to have that in the book. I was like, oh, that would be great to read a book about an older character, like having her sexy moment and like maybe reclaiming some of her sexuality. That would be awesome. Didn't really get
but
that.
Not at the behest of your daughter. It's
Mom, can you please go out
It's
there?
that thing again of like I understand wanting to be selfish, and like if you are a parent, and I am not a parent, but I have read and consumed a lot of media in which that is the case of like, I deserve a me night. That's different than being like, I'm going to go fuck off for months at a time, or, weeks at a time to Japan to fuck this guy. I was just like, I need you to be just tighten it up. Just tighten it up, Soleil.
Tighten it up.
Tighten it up.
Get your shit together.
They tightened it up for the script. That's where they tightened it up. They were like,
where they tightened it up.
That's not going to work.
Glad they realized that.
Yeah.
Because can you imagine if they had just filmed this?
Oh, God. No.
Go for
Help.
it.
Yeah.
All of that rehabilitation Anne Hathaway has done on her, like, Hollywood image would have gone straight in the fucking trash can if she was this, like, insufferable, rich, like, I think I read when I was reading the comparisons that, like, part of Hayes and Solen's bonding was their, like, that they were both from, like, well-to-do upbringings, because he would, like, they, like, the guys all met at,
He's
like,
posh.
Yeah, they all met like
at a boarding school.
Yeah, like, and she's obviously very wealthy, so it was like that was their tie into it. I was like, oh no, Anne Hathaway would have never.
Well, we did it.
We sure did.
We did it.
We
wow.
did it.
Oh my
that
god.
That was that. Thanks for being on our podcast, guys. Thanks for coming on this journey with us.
Cute.
Yeah.
But no, this was so fun. I love just yapping about
this is great.
Bad books.
Yes.
I
Honestly,
didn't read the book in
it
this
is so
case,
fun.
But it is very fun. Honestly, sometimes more fun than yapping about things that you love, because then you can just just really
Shit
drive that point
Yep.
home. Yep.
Yeah.
You for people who are listening to us and have never heard the Rom Complex, you can find them, I think, anywhere where podcasts are sold or made.
Yeah. Yeah, any of those places.
And what's your, is it just like at the Rom Complex on like Instagram and stuff like that? Okay, perfect.
Yes, we are on
right?
Instagram, TikTok. I think we have a Threads too, just at the Rom Complex.
Great. Well, thank you for being here. And you know, Jess and I are just two raccoons
Talking about
the best trash
in town.
in town. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Killing it.
Femmes Reading Filth is hosted, produced, and edited by Jessica Mole, Emily Barujan, Andrea Yuthmand, and Ben Oksher. Intro music is by Tom Lair. Outro music by David Reddick. You can find and support us on Patreon and follow us on Instagram, Tumblr, Facebook, and TikTok at Femmes Reading Filth. Thank you for listening. Bye!